All right. Well, why don't we get started?
Oh,
Calling to order at 7 o'clock. Yes.
uh, Kyle was probably gonna pop in a little late. So for
Okay.
those who don't know, Kyle Shaves is going to be our education representative, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, Board of Ed.
Yeah, Board of Ed. Okay, we'll go with that.
Good.
Is that, I mean, it's good that he's kind of representing the schools themselves, but I mean, do we still want to push to get somebody from the Board of Ed there? Because
Yeah, we
they
do.
actually control the purse strings and
There should actually be two different people. There
Yeah.
should be one from the school system and one from the Board of Ed. So-
which is a great segue to, hey, all the politicians are now running and trying to get your votes. Can we create a questionnaire real fast
Okay,
and
so
send it off?
that's been done.
Oh, awesome.
Bike Walk Farmington, we did that, and we've reached out to the Democrats so far, and they're going to meet us for coffee, and we have questions to ask, and one of them is going to be, do you have someone who will be on this board? If not,
Yeah.
not getting my vote, no. But we do. We have some questions, and I can actually let everyone know when that meeting happens.
Is anybody reaching out also to the Republicans?
I have my guy right there. No,
Thanks, CJ.
I guess I should be doing that, right? Or is someone else
Wait, how do I block out my video? Sorry.
have a
Yeah, I'll give you a name. Keith Vibert is probably the best person to call on that.
okay.
He's running and he's organizing people, so he could get you answers.
Awesome.
Or just reach out to each of the candidates directly.
Say that
And, you know,
again.
Keith actually, has been involved in some bike ped stuff over the years. So I think he gets it. So he'd probably be the guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember long ago when Bike Walk started, he wasn't able to join the board for some reason. I think it was on a work night of his. Was he the one that worked at a bike shop or no? Am I getting mixed up?
No, no, but he was involved for a period of time. I don't think he was on the board of directors, but he was on a committee for the Farmington Valley Trails
For
Council.
that, I think you're thinking of John Vibert.
Oh, John, you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was John. Although I have talked to Keith about bike ped stuff, so he does know what's going on.
Yeah,
Are they all-
You're right.
John-
You're right. I was thinking of John. Yeah.
John
Is that
was
all?
on this. Yeah, John was
Yeah.
on this committee at the start.
So
Yeah.
John and CJ were the co-founders actually
Yeah.
Yeah.
of Bike
long
Walk,
time.
of Bike Friendly Farmington.
Yeah.
All right, enough history there.
Okay, so I see no public for public comment.
We have Carolyn on.
Yeah, I was gonna just say something, just take
Oh,
5
I'm
minutes.
sorry, Carol. I forgot you were public. I keep thinking you're part of our group. I
Well,
apologize.
when does that happen?
Yay.
I'm making that note now. Maybe we can do that November.
CJ's not allowed to leave the town council until he gets that taken care of.
No, to get that straightened out. Yes. Yeah.
Priorities, yeah. Well, really quick, I was just gonna say, Ron talks about Destination Unionville a lot. And I think that is a really great idea to kind of pursue and flesh out. The idea like that I see for Destination Unionville is a place people want to spend a little time instead of kind of rushing there in a car, going somewhere quick, rushing back out with the car. It's more friendly to pedestrians, cyclists. It's more friendly to people kind of being outside. And this kind of thing is good for local businesses. It's good for the immediate neighborhood, but it can also be good for the town at large. I think it's nice to have a destination and kind of a central feeling spot for a town that we don't necessarily have. And I know the towns near us have been super successful with that. West Hartford's a great example. I wouldn't say we could get to West Hartford, but Collinsville is another really, really good example of places that are kind of alive. And I think for my money, the thing that really distinguishes those towns from our town is people are able to walk and bike without any threat of traffic. That's really kind of all it takes as far as I can see when it comes to kind of building a vibrant downtown area. Our structure, again, businesses, restaurants, even property values go up when you have something like a nice town green, a nice walkable area. Like it's a good thing for a town. And what I was thinking, especially, our town kind of resembles Collinsville a little bit in terms of how it's laid out. You know, we have these old rails to trails paths that were once railroads. And then we have kind of the industry along the river that used to be. So you have these buildings, you have kind of a similar structure. But the thing is, people, they're kind of like an island because of the roads that we have. So for my thoughts were, it's really important for us, you know, I can't decide what other people think is important, but to my mind, it's important that people try to find kind of a traffic-free walking, biking path to get to downtown. And, you know, I'm not an engineer, so I wouldn't know how this would best be done, but the thing I imagine, just having spent a lot of time in Unionville, would be something to connect the bike path with kind of near Perry Street, which would open up businesses, restaurants, even the school to like a really safe way to get places. And I know this might not be realistic, but I thought it was just worth mentioning, you know, that could be accomplished by a pedestrian bridge, pedestrian and cyclist bridge, because really the bike path is only a few yards away from where a lot of things happen, a lot of commerce happens in downtown and a lot of potential. So yeah, I just thought even if that's kind of an impossible dream, it might be worth thinking about connecting bike paths or neighborhoods to commercial areas. And yeah, and sorry, the most important thing is being far from cars. I think that really gets people relaxed. I think it changes the face of a place. And as much as like good work is being done here, amazing work is being done by this group, you know, I think sometimes the ultra safe kind of routes are important too. So, you know, not just kind of painted lines on the side of the road, which are great and much needed, but also kind of something that's, you know, people, families, whole families feel safe using. So yeah, and that's it. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Carolyn. And it's a great point. The biggest challenge there, of course, is getting across the Unionville Bridge. The endless construction on the Unionville Bridge from the state has not helped our cause much. And with any type of PED bridge, and Dylan might be able to weigh in on that, I think the problem is where it would land on that side. And that's really the challenge. You know, when you talk about Collinsville or even Simsbury, where the trail goes right by a lot of different places you can go to, we've got two problems. One, we don't really have a downtown. We've got Unionville is the closest thing in town that we have to a downtown. And it's on the wrong side of the river for our trail. But if we could get over there, that would be fantastic. I mean, our bigger problem is usually, you know, we can go north and south on the trails pretty well, and it's the east-west is the problem. It would be a good one to try and figure out, is there some landing spot on the other side? And then trying to figure out what type of funds, often they're, you know, whether it's statewide or federal funds. Their current issue is repairing bridges. And I don't know whether you can try and fold that into something with the Unionville Bridge. I'm not an engineer either, so I don't even know whether you could I've seen bridges where they sort of have a wing coming out from the bridge to extend it in a walkway. I'm not sure how you would get to it, and if you can on the side, because the gas station is right there, and you've got the dollar store on the other side. But maybe something like that could work, and it's worth kind of asking the questions. But you're right. That's our biggest issue always, is just getting safely on the streets, a lot of which are state streets in Farmington. That's the other big issue in Farmington. We've got so many state streets. There's only so much we can do with them. We can endlessly try and pressure our state reps, and some of that's worked. I mean, at different points in time, we got the bridge over Route 6. That was a big one, working with the state.
Yeah.
The painting, they are just lines, but the lines on Farmington Avenue and thinning out the travel lanes, those things have worked out. It's just like you're doing right now, trying to think what the other next steps are, and getting people over there safely would be great. So yeah, I'm all for trying to figure out if there are different ways of doing it.
So
the other thing that that I've been thinking of on this is, you look at Collinsville, they have some parks and some benches along the river. You look at Simsbury, what they've done with the Flower Bridge and the gazebo and stuff that they've built around that. If we could do something like this, where, because we have this beautiful resource, the river in town, but we don't have any real access to it, or benches or a gazebo to sit around and gather. So if we could combine something like that, I think it's a win-win.
I think too, like if you build safe spaces where people feel comfortable, I think that also incentivizes people to kind of make a space even more beautiful. So yeah, I think those things go, like you say, hand in hand.
Great. Good thoughts.
Yeah, just to add on that, I think in terms of a standalone pedestrian bridge, it's almost a bit unrealistic in terms of getting the funding for that. And as far as the Unionville Bridge goes, I think with the recent and extensive repairs that the state has done and gone through over the last couple of years on that bridge, I think that book is going to be closed for quite some time. Excuse me. I don't think that book will open back up until they decide to replace that bridge. The best opportunity we would have to build something that really separates traffic from your bike and pedestrian traffic in a separate space on the bridge is going to be the third river crossing, or the extension of Monteith Drive. That, I know it's not in Unionville, it's not in downtown Farmington either, but it's almost in the middle. You're about a mile away on either side of the river from downtown Unionville. It connects the library, the high school, town hall, to the southern side of the river. Much greater access, and vice versa for the senior center / community center and the police department for the northern side of the river. In terms of accomplishing something like this, I think that would be the most realistic avenue at this point.
How ridiculous would it be to make a pedestrian bridge to go from Union School to the bike path on the other side? Like, how many millions is that?
Enough. Pedestrian bridges are really built for safety when crossing major highways. Such
If
terrible example.
If it's federal funds, basically, assume that you can, dock a cruise liner at it, because that's literally what you're going to go through when in the design process.
Yeah.
But I would throw out 3 million as a low number.
That's design. That's design, Bruce.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the design. Yeah. No, I'm not even talking about constructing it. No. You're talking probably 10, 12 as a project. And realistically, I don't see anybody funding it.
Well,
Hi, Kyle.
Oh,
How's it going?
Kyle. Hey,
Thanks for joining us.
Sorry about the tardiness there. We're just finishing up.
No worries.
all right.
We're just happy to have someone from the school on board.
Pleasure to be here. Absolutely. Excited.
All right.
So we just manned all the committees and Kyle's on all of them, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, we're doing bike to school
That's
every
what
week now
happens when
too.
you show up late.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're doing bike to
Um,
school once a week now also, so.
Hey,
Oh,
it's
so
fun.
just to
I'll
kind of
do that.
piggyback on that too, a lot of you will remember several years ago when Doug had a plan. I called it Doug's Path. And it kind of connected the trail to the Highlands. You remember this, CJ, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all we wanted was signage to get from the Highlands to the back of the high school. Well, never really got a good reason on why that got squashed. And we were talking during Bike Walk Farmington. That's what we need more of. We need more of this connectability or whatever. We need more routes like that neighborhoods are aware of, that people who aren't from that neighborhood are aware of. So I would like to revisit that again or find out why that never got approved.
Ron, first we should see if we can find the Doug's Hidden Trails map, because he had the maps of all the paths that people take. As
I can
much
get all that.
unofficial. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think some of the problems were, and I can't remember which ones specifically, but some of those hidden paths are actually crossing private property. And they were ones that people, don't mind so much, and they put up with people crossing the private property, but the signage would have kind of crossed a line, if I recall correctly.
That's-
But we'll have
that's
to look at
what
the map.
CJ
and review.
CJ, that's what I recall too.
Okay.
Well, it was private ownership of, not really a lot of land, but enough land so that if you wanted to do that correctly, you'd have to, figure out a right of way, or something.
I mean-
which is why it bogged down.
Yeah.
The one from the bike path to the high school shouldn't cross any private
doesn't.
lands or even easements.
At our meeting, Lily's mom, Patty, I didn't take notes, but she mapped it all out.
Yeah,
And it was just it was regular roads.
Yeah, it's Rosewood to Wynwood, and then Knollwood to Crestwood, and then you just walk up.
Yeah. To me, that's all low hanging fruit. And when you get enough of that in different neighborhoods and people start to think, wow, this community is trying to become more bike friendly, maybe I'll jump on this train and maybe we'll get more done. Because as it is right now, there's no little helpful things like that.
Yeah.
Except the finding signage.
If Dylan could maybe you could put that on a map for us next meeting. Let's look at it. If we think it's a good idea, we'll push it forward. We'll see what it
Sure.
would take to make an official route.
and just like from the bike path, I mean, you could have a sign, on the other side of the river pointing down to the boathouse. And you could also have, trail says trail to Tungus Mead, Longway and skate park or something like that. And there's a lot of places we can get to off the trail.
Now we're thinking, yup, exactly.
And I mean, the other one that I was going to ask about is that off the bike path towards the condos on Brickyard and Big Sky and stuff like that, there's an unofficial path that goes there. I don't know what would need to be, are we allowed to put a sign up that says to go there? Because I mean, obviously it's going to go to their own private property to connect to it, but people are taking it, and somebody put gravel down once upon a time on it. So
Yeah, that's all private.
yeah, but if they want to embrace it, it just makes it more bikeable. You know, and I think with the, you know, when the recreational use statute got updated, they shouldn't have any liability because they're not charging for it. So,
Oh,
know,
no, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. They definitely have contingent liability if it's on their land, which is one of the reasons why you would have to convey it somehow in order to make that work. Municipalities enjoy a great deal of leeway in terms of legal response for accidents or whatever
Yeah.
poor maintenance, things like that. Whereas an individual does not have those protections. So we'd have to look at that very closely to figure out how that would work.
would an
I feel like
easement
if there
work?
were any place to start, like a gym, like Big Sky,
Yeah.
they're like athletic facility. They have outdoor things, they have indoor things. They are probably kind of like maybe the first people who would like take on that liability, maybe just because that's kind of falls under the umbrella of what they do, right? It's like fitness.
It would
You
have
know,
to be the landowner. I don't know if they own the land.
Yeah, it also be great for, I mean, I'd much rather run outside than run on a treadmill, but you know, the trail's sketchy, so I don't blame, you know, people for not encouraging the use of it. You know, it could be definitely improved, but I mean, at what point does somebody twist an ankle and then their insurance, they wouldn't want to sue, but their insurance company, who knows what they would do?
Yeah, that's really essentially what the problem is that very issue. So, we'd have to sketch out what the ownership is and figure out what some sort of a right-of-way conveyance would be. There's a couple of different ways to do that, but the town would have to be all in. I mean, you'd have to, it would be, it would certainly be a vote for sure of the council. And so, CJ, these things aren't undertaken lightly. So, but I'm not trying to throw water on all of this. I think these connections are hugely important for the town, and I'd love to see them. They need to be done correctly. That's all.
Yeah. I think if we circle back to, what we had done before, and Dylan, if you get the map out, and we've had various maps with different color codings, just a map, we can start off with the routes to school and see to the high school from the Highlands, see what those routes look like. And then at our meetings, we could just set aside one agenda item saying, okay, we're looking at maps, connectivity, destination, everywhere. I mean, and we figure out what the best destinations are to focus on. And then we see where the truly low-hanging fruit is and try and get some of those. Bruce, you might have an idea. I was just wondering, when you've got an unofficial path that goes through someone's yard and they've sort of been looking the other way for years, do municipalities or the state or anyone ever have success going in and saying, look, the liability's on you right now. Would you have an interest in conveying this property? And then you have no more liability. It's on municipality.
Yeah, no, absolutely true. Not so much for big, wide, fancy paved trails, but for single track and for walking, absolutely, it happens all the time. And in fact, Connecticut Forest and Park Association got passed last year. I think it was SB 993 or 998, but it allows for towns in Connecticut to vote to if somebody wants to donate their land or donate a right of way, it allows the town abrogation of a tax consequence. So if they give away whatever it is, 1/4 of an acre, then the town wouldn't tax them anymore on that 1/4 of an acre, which the legislature passed last year. So there's actually some tools to be able to do this. You see it more out east and the upper west of the state because there's just more land to do it.
Right.
But yeah, no, there's some tools to do this.
Okay. Well, let's start with the map. We'll get on next meeting's agenda item, and we'll work figure out where the smartest places to start are and go from there.
Absolutely.
Great. Now on our official agenda, what are we,
We got new business, Matt. Matt has prepared a kind of a draft policy or policy points that we may be able to implement in our next revision of our complete streets plan or other plans or policies that come up in the future. This would be in our back pocket, ready to go. Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did send a document to you guys. I think you probably all have it, and it's just kind of an outline of some ideas. For everything from how we design the streets to training town employees to how they look at the roads as far as hazards, which we, sometimes don't have people do because they don't ride, they drive cars. So their look at the road is going to be different than ours. But the other thing too is also infrastructure, but not necessarily new infrastructure, but when we redo a road or we redo an intersection or we're setting up something, what we can do to make it better. For instance, where do we locate the catch basins? Are they in the road where the cyclists are going to dodge them every time they come up, or are they located off to the side in an area that's not in the travel lane that allows the water to drain, but also keeps the cyclists from having to veer out into the travel lanes? A bunch of different stuff on there. Did you guys all get that?
No, I don't see it, Matt. Did you
Yeah, I
guys
think-
get it?
I think I got it.
It was attached to the email for the agendas and minutes.
It was from
Sure.
Dylan.
Yeah. From
Yeah.
Oh,
So I would speak up here. I liked a lot of that. I think the biggest piece, if the town would agree, is to formalize some sort of a process where when we've got a road rehabilitation that the state has programmed or the town has programmed, that we go through a little bit of a process, just like a lot like what Matt was talking about, and take a look at walkability, bikeability, ways that road could be improved. And I don't think it's a terribly heavy lift. I really don't. I mean, one of the if I put my other hat on, somebody in the town council, CJ, would say, well, how much more is this going to cost? For instance, right? That would be the common, that would, right?
absolutely.
And so what we have to do is figure out ways to make these routes safer and not astronomically more expensive. So there's going to be some sort of, line there, and obviously, decreasing travel widths for cars, that's a no-brainer. But moving catch basins, that can be damned expensive. So, there's ways, I think, to do this that, engineering probably could be a big help in terms of, dictates from this policy, how, what would, making a quote unquote complete street out of a town road look like in terms of additional expense? And can we find the money for that? Can we program LOTSIP or STP Urban, or, there's a bunch of stuff out there. But it needs to be a town process, CJ, I think, ultimately.
Yeah.
And so that's the hard part of doing this, Matt, is figuring out how to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Because
I think a big part of it is also the fact that we need to look at what roads are we going to look at improving for east, west,
Absolutely.
north, south. Where are people going to go places?
Yep.
Because you're not going to do this in the Highlands. You don't need to.
No, you don't need to.
But
Correct.
look at Meadow Road. And there's a road that desperately needs to be wider and safer and is used by
Yeah.
hundreds of cyclists.
Well, what Meadow Road needs is Meadow Road needs, you know, the old side path to be taken up and a legitimate side path being put down.
Well,
That's-
the other thing too is the road needs to be wider because you have cyclists that are going at speed, which do not belong on a sidewalk
That's true.
going through there. And that's a big east-west route for us.
That's true. But that's a great example of something where there actually is land. You know, there is a right of way. You know, that could be done. We've got
And
a lot of
actually, it's a great example of those catch basins that are off to the side in a couple of spots too.
I know those catch basins. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I've got a
it-
question on Meadow Road.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did the town just get a $500,000 grant to make improvements on that?
We did.
No.
That will go from the intersection of from Red Oak Hill, I think it's Red Oak Hill and Meadow, all the way through to Plainville Avenue, I believe. I haven't looked at it closely yet. It was the town manager's office that went for the grant. I was just told about a week or so
But
ago.
I don't think that was the flats though, right?
No, not the flats.
Yeah, I didn't think so. No,
because the flats is the big spot.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
right.
but-
Yeah.
We are gonna get something there, just not the stretch between Dunks's Mead and Garden.
Yeah. Which is what we really need. That's the
Yeah.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, not yet, but realistically, that's a subject for us to push on because that road does get used a ton by cyclists.
Yeah.
And of course, the sidewalk gets used by the runners too, so.
But you know, the sidewalk could be, you know, a 12-foot side path. You know, with a center line. And that would go a long way toward it. Still, you know, I mean, the guys that are doing, you know, 28, you know.
Yeah, the double pace line is not gonna work on a 12-foot sidewalk.
No, it's not. It's not. And we know that.
Right. I mean, luckily for Meadow Road, the sight distances are excellent. So it's not like there's a bunch of trees in the way, except for the curves up by Garden Street.
Yeah, that's right. So CJ, I mean, as a practical matter, who would be the working group to take a look at an addendum to the to Farmington's Complete Streets policy, and you know, add a little bit of an element of enforcement to it, you know, in the sense that you know, the town would push the state on state projects, but also would have a process for town projects.
Yeah, I mean, that would be going through zoning and getting
Yep.
their approval process. What could happen on the council level is when they're starting the new group, whoever comes in January and is setting their goals and objectives for the next 2 years, is getting in front of them at that point and putting it on that list, because that list really does get paid attention to closely. That's kind of the town manager cares about it because that's how she's judged on how she achieved her year. The council pays attention to it because that's what they set down, what they wanted to accomplish over the next 2 years. So that would be a good time to get it in when you've got, you know, post-election, when we know who's going in, to start lobbying them at that point in time to say, let's get this on the goals and objectives for the next 2 years.
Okay, so I think it's incumbent on us to, you know, to make those meetings. Is it worth, you know, talking, getting Kathy and Russ in a room together about this?
It could be. I'd say the first conversation could be at our November meeting, because that'll be the
Mhm.
first meeting post-election. And we could just start that with a public comment and get see if there are other people out there who would have an interest. And that could kind of be the starting point.
Well, you know, Matt, you and I could make a public comment, and maybe we do that.
Should we have a separate planning meeting I know we've got our monthly regular meetings, but, if we had just a meeting, of the same group, just to set our goals and objectives for the next year for whatever, and just discuss that, and then that would dovetail in perfectly with, passing that on to, the new town council. And then we don't get bogged down with, updates on things that are happening and whatever, but, that way we focus on, what are the big long-term goals? What are the goals for this year that we need, especially we need resources from the town or from grants or whatever.
Andrews, it might be a good idea to just call it a working group, have
Okay.
a meeting, between now and early November,
Sure.
sometime late October, and set a time to get that all hashed out. So then anyone who wants to speak at the public comment would be on the same page. There'd be something going on there, and it's just a subset of this group. Whoever wants to be involved, would be a bad idea.
Do we want to set a date for it now, or do we all just want to email and?
Why don't we email and do a doodle poll or something like that?
Okay.
I'm out close to every night.
Yeah.
So, it's that time of year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But let's see what we can do.
I mean, the other option would be, to actually meet somewhere in person, at the senior center, get a pizza or something like that. And then,
Yeah, we could do that. Actually, that may be the way to do it, quite frankly.
If Ron buys the pizza, we'll all go. I can invite Keith Vibbert, and he's got a good source for pizza.
Exactly what I was just thinking. Can we invite the Dems and the reps together?
We can invite everybody, sure.
Cool.
More the merrier. Okay, why don't we do a poll and see what, if we can send out a doodle poll, we'll see what dates work. Okay.
Just as far as that document goes, I might revise it. Just one thing I wanted to add in there was actually the viability of when we have a controlled intersection with lights and so on and so forth, that those lights be able to be activated by either cyclists on a sensor or cyclists being able to activate those things by being in the road. You guys have probably seen them around occasionally. You'll see a little thing that says, to activate the light, put your bike here, and that activates the traffic control. That's probably something
Westfield, right?
we want to do. I mean, good example of that would be, Meadow Road at the end by Main Street. There's a place that desperately needs a sensor there that works for a cyclist.
Yeah, that's one of them. There's some others. So rapid flashing beacons have different sensor heads. And so, yeah, and by the way, there's grants out there for those. Community Connectivity just got $12 million more dollars in the bonding package that passed on Friday. And you all should know that the $10 million for the Rec Trails program for 24 passed as well. So the RFP for those grants are going to go out at the end of this month from DEEP. So be aware, if we want to get some design money for the jug handle, we should get working on that. And I'm willing to help on that. Now, I think I've mentioned in the past that it's something of a double-edged sword. I can help writing that and then have to recuse myself on voting for it. So that's your choice. Your choice is, do you get me writing it or voting for it? So, but I think this year is a great year to do it because there's more money, out there for grants, and this is a connection that everybody recognizes. Everyone gets this. Trying to get to West Hartford, it's a big deal.
Can I put my vote in to have you help write it? Because I'm afraid if you don't help write it, then it's probably not going to get in time for the cycle. And if it's such a great idea, then other people should see the merit of it too.
Well, here's why don't I talk offline with the town? How's that? Because one of the things I can do is I have in my back pocket some of the winning applications from the last round that I could forward you. That
Yeah,
you
that'd
didn't
be
get,
pretty
that you
helpful.
didn't get from me?
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Bruce,
So,
you're breaking up here.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I don't
Um,
even know how you got in this meeting.
Yeah, right. So that's a possibility too. So let's talk about that. But we really should get an application in for this 24 money. I think it's it would score highly, and I think it's a very good bet that you'd get
What-
that design money.
What's the deadline on that, Bruce?
I believe end of February now, because
Okay.
it's a little later than we thought.
Yep.
So there's 3 months to do it.
Okay.
How
Very
long
doable.
how long did it take to get that $500,000 grant from the state? I mean, that was federal money too, I believe, if I read the story right. We got some
I'm
experience.
not 100% sure. That wasn't my office who put the application through.
Is some of those, Rich, and I'm not sure what the situation is on that particular one, but some of them we kind of have all the plannings, and we're waiting for the right grant to come through that we can just drop in our proposal that we sort of got sitting on the sideline, which really wouldn't be a bad idea for us to do on a number of issues here too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean, I just say, I'll say it again. I've said it a bunch of times on these meetings. I'd be willing to help in any way to try and draft a grant application or whatever, whatever it takes. I'm willing to do it. That's why I'm on this committee.
Yeah,
So just throwing it out there again.
great. Thank you.
I think coming up with the applications that are and grants that are coming up, I think we'll have to rely a lot more on our committee members than in the past.
Okay.
In, in terms of
Rich,
applications.
just assume that you'll be CC'd on all of this,
Yeah,
because I know you'd be a big help, and there's little things that become big things, like taking a bunch of photos, for instance. There's just a lot of stuff that you've got to do, and if we have a specific person doing specific pieces, it's just much easier.
I will certainly volunteer to help in any way I can.
Great.
wonderful.
Anything else with that, Matt? That's great. Appreciate that. Okay. All right, what's up next, Dylan?
Old business bike league application, and
Okay,
our second item
so
is
I'll-
Farmington Valley Trails Council update.
All right, I'll do that real quick. What am I talking about?
Bike league application.
The application. So apparently the deadline was extended, right? So we have until June.
Oh,
Is that what I read?
that's
It's not
news.
February anymore. February's
What?
gone.
Well, that's because they're now only doing it once a year
Okay, which is
Instead of-
good news for us.
instead of twice a year. So it's good news for us because, we would have had trouble probably with February, but yes.
Well, not only that, but what I'll touch upon in a minute, which is why, we have Kyle here, is I just wanted to talk a little bit about the education. So this application that we're filling out right now is so education heavy that if we don't have even anything in our schools, I'm not talking about ride to school, I'm talking about some type, even if it's video driven, that whole section is going to be blank. Carolyn, Patty, and I, and actually Lily, we spent a couple hours one day going through it. Just that one section, section B, is all education. And there's a lot to it. And a lot of it has to do with what you're offering the students in the different grade levels. And I talked about this last month. I talked about Bruce wasn't here, but the Vision Zero, the Safe Routes to School is now back, and all of that, and how it's gonna, they're gonna keep unrolling it little by little. So, Kyle, while you're there, what I would like to do is get together with you and hopefully Kurt, 5th grade, right? Phys ed teacher.
Not Kurt.
Not Kurt.
Are you thinking, there's Nick Borman up there at Westwoods, there's a new teacher, and then there's, oh my gosh, what's his name? I think that's who you're probably going for.
Yeah, he's been there a while.
Yeah, he has. Oh, I'm just
Okay,
drawing.
so there goes my next question. You don't have a really tight relationship with him yet.
It's actually just my mind is racing right now with my kids and everything. I know his name. I do have a good relationship with him. I can talk to him. So get together. Yeah, go ahead.
So what we wanted to do was kind of get together and just kind of see like where to begin, how we find time between now and hopefully before the end of the school year, so we can get at least something into the school system that we can put onto the application. And it'll probably just be video. If you guys saw on the bike friendly bike walk Farmington Facebook page, Mansfield just put their school program in. They followed South Windsor's, and they got a donation from Sustainable Connecticut. Bruce, I'm sure you know. And I don't know how much that paid, but there is money out there, and we need to just get together and start going after that. And we had talked about that at the Bike Walk Farmington meeting. So that's really what we want to get you involved with, Kyle, is you know, it's just
do you want me to talk to the other K through 4 phys ed teachers? I mean, Max over at NOAA does some education. He does a kindergarten program where he has bikes in there and he teaches them all how to ride, and I'm sure he's more than willing to jump on board as well. Yeah, perfect,
because we discussed him and we'd like to find out where all that came from. And the 5th grade, of course, is going to be very important because that's where we're going to have our program of learning how to ride on the road and training the teachers to teach the kids. So, CJ, you can't remember his name, huh? Who we met with? I can't believe I can't remember it.
That was only 6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I can barely remember my name.
I don't want to drag that out, Kyle. And if you had, if you had to run right now, I wanted to get that, out of the way right now. So that way you can go and do what you have to do. But
it's Kubis is the last name. That's why you have Kurt.
You sure it's not Kurt?
No, it's not. It's Kevin. Sorry. Kevin Kubis. Kubas.
Yes. Okay, cool. Because he was very into it as well.
Yeah, he rides a lot.
Yep. Okay, so I can get together with you off camera.
Sure.
And we can set all that up. And then
Sounds
I can
great.
report back to everyone because Carolyn's interested in being a whole part of this setting it up as well. Yeah.
Yep. Carolyn dropped me off some good curriculum and over the summer, and I've taken a little bit of look at it.
That's right.
Again, trying to see how Max did his and implemented his program there, and any way we can, if we need grant money, write a grant, find some way to get the kids on their bikes in school would be great. If it's just a video based thing, then that's fine for now, but whatever we can do to add to it would be great.
Okay, cool. And there are so many people willing to help us. South Windsor, I was at a meeting there a few years ago. They're all very willing to help us out with this, as is Bike Walk Connecticut. So we have a lot of resources.
Did Winding Trails get a bunch of bikes for some program?
Oh, we did talk about that too, and we were wondering how if we can maybe hook up with them somehow.
Yeah. Unless we borrow the trailer from South Windsor or whatever we're doing. a bike
Yeah,
fund when
that
they're not
had
doing
come
it.
up. That South Windsor trailer had come up when Ed Manfredi was still the PE department head, and we were trying to get things rolling, and then he retired. It was right around COVID time. But I can go back to some of the materials and stuff that he sent us. It's probably still in my email and in the contacts there for that. That would be great.
Okay, and like I
And-
said, Bike
and
Walk
ju-
Connecticut's more than happy to walk us through this. I mean, Bruce knows
Yeah.
obviously all
Well,
this too, but-
just be aware that I'm on Bike Walk Connecticut's board of directors. So if you need anything from them, just let me know.
Okay. All right. Well, Kyle, thanks, and we really look forward to having someone from the board, from Board of Education.
Well, yeah, thank you. I'm excited to help, and any service that I can give to you guys would be more than my pleasure. And just let me know. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks. Okay.
Did you have anything from,
Well,
Valley Trails Council, Farmington Valley Trails Council
well,
updates.
I want to remind Bruce about our Bollards meeting coming up.
Yeah, I've got it down.
So really, I'm on two different committees that we're working on that will kind of impact this group a little bit, but they're both still kind of far off. And one's the Bollards, which is still very unclear right now. And the other one is re-signing the Farmington River Trail. So people understand it's one trail and how to get through Simsbury on it and
So,
stuff like
Ron,
that.
speaking of that really quickly, last week we did a just family bike ride up the, guess it's the river trail. I don't know, from New Britain Avenue over to Riverside Mini Golf. And we ran into somebody from West Hartford, and she was trying to figure out where she parked her car. And she's like, I remember I parked it, but which parking lot? I don't know. And I was wondering if the parking lots, if it makes sense, if we're going to re-sign it, then maybe this goes to Bruce also. But, you know, have a name for each parking lot.
Oh my God, I think someone in this very meeting a different time suggested that. I don't remember
that,
who.
Ron?
Hmm.
He got shot down though.
Hmm,
I
okay.
do remember that.
Well,
there's
That
two
was a
other
good
people.
idea.
the Ron Gorowski, Memorial Parking Lot
Not even names, just
was but actually you're not wrong. I mean, anything we can do, because we're just going to get more and more people, we know that. So that's actually not a bad idea at all. Just to piggyback on Farmington Valley Trails Council, their annual meeting is at the Avon Senior Center, November 10th at 7 p.m. And my friend from Connecticut DOT is going to be speaking on the Plainville and Southington projects. So that's Scott Bushy, by the way. He's head of design at DOT. So he'll be the major speaker, and I'll do my usual, 10 minutes on, what's going on in the state.
Bruce, did you have any luck about talking to them about that raised bike path on Northwest Drive at all?
Not much. They said they'd review it, which tends to mean it's cast in stone, unfortunately. I have to talk to them next week, and I'll mention it again. I've mentioned it a couple of times to them. I'll keep after it.
and if anyone can make it to that annual meeting, it's really a good time to kind of interact with a lot of people from different towns. And like Bruce just said, the guest speaker is going to be great. So
Good. Hey, Bruce, what is the
little sandwiches.
what is the assumed schedule for Plainville portion?
So I don't want to get too in the weeds on this.
No, I'm just looking rough number.
But rough number, they're hoping to break ground next year.
Okay.
Which is the last I heard. They've broken ground on, let me see, Southington 3A, It was all supposed to be Southington 3, but it's 3A and 3B now, because the Attorney General's office has switched again, and currently there's another moratorium on right-of-way acquisitions by Connecticut DOT. Apparently, the Yard Metals suit went into another phase or something. I don't know exactly what happened, but so it's delayed both Plainville 1 and Plainville 2, both of which are designed, both of which are funded, but they still have to require, I think there's 3 different acquisitions that are actually not very large, but they're having trouble getting the Attorney General's office to agree to even do it. So that's currently where it stands.
Okay.
It sucks, but and it only gets worse because those Plainville projects in particular are mostly funded with that RAISE grant, and RAISE grants, unlike federal TAP funds and other federal funds, have to be used within calendar 3 years, which means they're going to be burning up the clock. Yeah, it's going to be tough. So we'll see how that works. So that's the short version. The long version
Okay,
is
I like-
just like, yeah,
Yeah.
woo, yeah.
Thanks.
So real quick, Bruce, that's Southington. What about Plainville from the airport down to where Yard is?
That is in fact, Scott Bushy will talk about that at this meeting. That is currently in design. I think they'd call it 30% design right now. They're still struggling with the actual center of Plainville, where that's going to go, what it's going to look like. They're thinking maybe of a bike boulevard along Broad Street. But I've seen other stuff too. So I don't really know, what they're thinking. He may have some updates at that meeting.
Called a tease. You have to show up to find out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but that's as much as I know. I've seen some initial drawings, but they're literally just initial drawings.
Just ruined the tease, Bruce. I think we had a few of these folks who were going to show up.
Okay, do we have anything else?
I have a small little tiny couple things.
Do we have anything else before Ron?
Do we have anything else before me?
Yeah, Bike Walk Connecticut's annual meeting is at the Thomas Hooker Brewery in the Colt Building, November 2nd. Starts at 5:30. The speaker for that is Bill Nesper, who is the chairman executive director of the League of American Bicyclists. So he'll be there from Washington, and he's a fun guy. He's interesting. I've known him for years.
That
Does he
one
vote
costs
on our application when we send it in?
I'll chat him up.
Couldn't hurt to talk to him. Okay, Ron, what do you have?
All right, so we dropped for some reason the 3 feet to pass signs going through the flats, the very dangerous flats where cars zip by your ear. Whatever happened with that? Did somebody squash it?
I don't know. Jeff, do you know anything about that?
No, I don't.
Dylan?
I don't, but I can follow up with Jim. I
Clearly,
can see. It's
we don't
probably
know
just a
Ron just
timing
pissed
thing.
somebody off.
No, okay. I think
Yeah,
I
we'll
should
find out. I'll find out, Ron.
Jim.
We'll see what's going on.
All right. I think I want to meet Jim. Okay. The Graffiti Bridge, the Prince song. That's still there. Do you know what's going on with that? I remember I sent
what
you an
graffiti?
email about it, and you said they would be out there like in a couple days. This was a couple months ago.
What
Which
graffiti
bridge are we
bridge?
talking about?
What's that?
Yeah, where's the bridge run? The tunnel?
Tunnel.
Okay,
You call it
By the
tunnel.
parking lot?
Bridge.
Oh, you mean the one with the gang markings on it now?
Yeah.
Go ahead, ask Jeff about that. Those look like gang markings to me.
Really, Jeff?
I was just there.
So
No, not gang markings. Matt's trying to stir the pot.
I know, I saw that.
No, not really. It's just some of the stuff I've seen on the Collinsville Bridge where they've actually, they've got a policy there. If people mark that bridge and going into Collinsville, it's taken off within a week.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I'll remind them. I thought they had already done it. I was just there last week and I didn't see any graffiti, but I didn't go through the tunnel. I was on one side.
Okay.
We're on
You
the
were
tunnel.
a member of a different gang.
That should be added to our policy list, because yeah, that was painted graffiti sometime this summer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can't be there more than a couple of days, week at most.
Yeah. When I told them, they already knew about it and they already had it scheduled. It's probably something that just got pushed because we've been so busy with keeping up with the rain this year.
Okay. So we're gonna check on those two things for me,
Yeah, I got them.
the graffiti bridge and okay, you got it? All right.
I wrote it down. Pencil.
Okay.
Evidence. Yes, I wrote them down. Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
The meeting's also recorded, so yeah, we
That
might
is
have
fine.
to, yeah. We might have to.
We'll go back to the videotape later.
Does this
Okay.
get posted? Does this get
Yes,
posted?
every meeting's on our YouTube channel.
It is. Okay.
Goes
I
on the
believe
town website.
It's I don't know if they link it on the town
So
website.
link? Usually we have a link on the town site. I'm not sure.
I don't know if they do for.
I haven't
our
gone
meetings,
back
but
to rewatch any of these meetings, so I gotta say,
I'm scared to.
okay.
I'm not sure if it's linked, but if you Google Farmington, Connecticut meetings, I believe it is the title of our YouTube channel. All of the town meetings are posted there.
Okay. CJ, what's your job? Your one job from this meeting?
Other than graffiti, 3 feet to pass, it's getting Carolyn on this committee next November.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just for the record, I was kidding about erasing part of the tape. I don't
Late,
want
Neil.
to.
I
I
had
don't
my
want to go
finger
back
on
to
the button.
Watergate. Yeah, I don't want to go back.
None
to
of that
Watergate.
was actually recorded, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
don't worry, Neil. We'll take this part out too.
Okay.
I
Good.
ended the meeting 10 minutes ago.
Oh, good.
You know when I asked if anyone other than Ron wanted to say something? All right, everybody. I think we're pretty good.
You guys are gonna
Good
miss
meeting.
me one day.
Oh, before you guys quit, if you have any suggestions or changes to that document I sent out, just let me know and we can make some adjustments. I may add what I talked about earlier in about automatic controls for the cyclist and stuff like that, but I'll have Dylan get you a revised copy.
Yep.
Great. Thank you, Matt.
Just send me whatever you got, Matt, and I'll send it out to the group.
Okay. I think we're adjourned. 8:07.
Thank you, everybody.